Want to thank you guys for checking us out on Three Brothers No Sense. It's your boy Buff. Make sure you continue to check us out. Like, subscribe, share the podcast with your friends. Help us grow. And we want to thank you guys for tuning in. Check us out every Monday. New episodes. Three Brothers No Sense.
All right. So I have a question. I think maybe it'll be a quick question. I never get to say that. Joe Budden has a podcast, and he was reading a letter about this, similar to your story, Byron, where this young lady was asking, was her father overreacting? Essentially, she has her birthday party, her 27th birthday party, and her boyfriend, friends, and some of her family members are there, including her father and mother. And the boyfriend picked up a birthday cake, and the birthday cake said, "Happy birthday, Janine. Best pussy ever." And the father and mother left, and the daughter hit the dad up the next day, like, "I think that was very rude of you leaving," and stuff like that. And he's like, how do you expect me to react? And she's like, you always be my little girl. And I just felt like that was a lack of respect. And she's like, "I'm 27, dad, da 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 da." And you overact. It's like, you know what? We'll talk about this later. And she's like, "There's nothing to talk about." Did the father overreact? What is the daughter not seeing? Well, how would you have reacted as a father?
Are you 27 or are you 17?
Right.
Because that sounds more like the move that a 17-year-old would make. Because you're not even that young. Like, you're close to 30.
You're close to having kids yourself, right?
She kept saying that it was a joke, Dad. It was a joke.
Okay. Well, listen, I will stick with my nobody's right or wrong, but I think that was incredibly stupid. It's not even a good joke. Mm-mm. It's not even a good gag. It's not a good joke. You the people who are coming to the party, right? And like, for me, it's crazy. I think we all share this in a way. When my mom was here, I'm in my 30s, 40. I still wouldn't, or at the very least would be hesitant to even use profanity around her. Mm-hmm. I'm a grown man with my own mortgage, man, and it's still just that. It's just that respect level, man. And I'm not saying everybody has to have that, but that's definitely, like, to me, that sounds like a young person. That's one of those I'm gonna do it because I can type moves. Like, yeah, okay, you're 27. Yeah, you can go do that. You can do that. But like Ferg said in his previous answer, everything has a reaction to actions. So yeah, you can do that. But I also can say, okay, this is beyond stupid. I'm offended. I'm out. Happy birthday, baby girl. So it just seems real stupid. And now I want to question more about the boyfriend, the type of person he is, and is this somebody that she should be with long term? Right. And the fact that she co-signing it, like, what the hell wrong with you? So, but that's way over there. We're just talking about the cake right now, and I'm not with it.
For me, he underreacted. What he should have did, Roger? I'll be damned if DeMarcus, right, like Haley's boyfriend, brought a cake that said "best pussy ever." Like,
But she's not 27 though, Razi.
She's 23, and even though
4 years from now, bro, maybe you'll change in 40 years.
That's even worse, right? Like Buff said, like, she's acting like she's 17, 18. My thing is, they do these viral meme, like, TikTok things where they'll do jokes like that to embarrass or disrespect, and then see, they do it where they walk up to people in grocery stores and stuff and, like, knock stuff out of their hand and everything, see how people react. Like, if they were doing that, they would get a reaction from it. It would make a nice TikTok. They probably get a lot of views in it because I would have cussed him the fuck out. Like, you're not even on some disrespecting my daughter, because I can see myself getting Leah a cake like that, right? Like, for us by ourselves, me just getting her, like, you know what I'm saying,
Yeah,
babe,
exactly.
you know,
Exactly.
ha ha ha, we can laugh with each other about that. You disrespected me, right? That's, I think, where I would approach him and like just pin him up about that, right? Like, no, you're not gonna come and disrespect me and my daughter in my face like that. You're playing in my face, and so that's really what I'm more mad about. Cause y'all 27, like the daughter said, you know we fucking daddy. I know y'all fucking. That's okay. Cool. Y'all have that conversation there. But it's the respect level that you talked about, Byron. You're disrespecting me, right? You're bringing that in. You knew I was gonna be here, and you knew that there was probably gonna be some reaction from that, right? And I could probably see that it was a joke, right? But my first reaction is gonna be like, I need to make sure it's a joke. So I'm gonna press you on this to make sure that this is a joke. You playing because you playing in my face. And so I'm heated just thinking about that happening right now. Like, like, no, you're not gonna do that. And so, and then her to double down when she called him the next day or whatever. My initial reaction would be to Haley or Sophie or anybody would be, like you said, Buff, you knew I was gonna react that way. You probably knew I was gonna react that way. And so that makes me question the daughter, or whether the dad was really like serious about that, because like most of our daughters probably know that we would react that way and we're gonna go off and you're not gonna disrespect us like that. So
But she's 27. She's grown now, Rozzy.
she's grown, but like Bo said, I don't curse in front of my mama. If I cuss, I'm like ducking because I know she might hit me, right? Like, and I don't know, like she can beat me up type thing. It's just like I respect her enough to let her hit me if I cuss around her, right? Like I respect her. That's just respect. You know, I'm not gonna do that, and we might do a little sexual innuendo around her or whatever, because you know my mom's like, okay, I'm glad y'all have a healthy sexual relationship, right? But there's a difference of that and just flat out disrespect. And I felt like that's disrespect. And yeah, he would have had to see me that day, right there. That cake might have been in his face. Like that's how.
So yeah, I'm with both of y'all. I'm kind of with Rozzy. Maybe the dad underreacted, but more than anything, you said everything I felt about the cake. For me, two things that I really want to stress on is I would be disappointed in my daughter and almost feel like where did I fail as a dad
Mm-hmm.
for her to think this is okay, because this is a representation of you. I'm not worried about you disrespecting me because you're some 27-year-old nigga I can give two shits about, right? But this is a representation of you. And then him, how does he feel about you? Even kind of in our last answer, but I was talking about us representing each other, right? I'm so carefree or don't care about you enough or don't respect you enough where I'm this joke. Maybe it's cute in their circle, but best pussy ever. Right? That's embarrassing. That shows like not my queen, not my the best woman ever, the love of my life. This is how I choose to describe you. This is how I see you. And maybe it's deeper than that. Maybe it's a joke, but I would never put you in a situation where I would want others to even think for a second that's how I view you.
Mm-hmm.
Right? The other 27, I don't remember me at 27, but I would never disrespect anybody I'm with like that. Like, that's disrespectful to her. She found it as a joke. He thought it was funny enough. And like you said, maybe it's behind closed doors. That's our sense of humor. That's a little thing we got going on. But I would never put that out in public, right? Because that represents you and represents me.
Right, lady in the street,
and as
in the sheets, right? Like,
yeah, and then the daughter, like, baby, you allow this? Like, I would think you'd be mortified. Like, how dare you? Like, that's our thing. Maybe you're right. But that's our thing, right? Why would you put this out in front of my friends, my dad, my mom's here, my aunt's here, my little sisters? Like, what? And I'm pretty sure everybody at the party didn't laugh.
mm-hmm.
There's no way 100%. And dad was the only person like, Come on, Bill, get over it. You know, like it's other people had to cringe. I'm like, I guess everybody laughing. I guess like, wow. And it's like, where did I fail that my daughter's allowing somebody to represent her like this, and that she's making choices like this on the type men she's dealing with? Because I hope she had brothers. You know, because that's my thing. It's like, really? That's how you gonna approach my sister? And so those are the things I was thinking is, you know, and most of the people on the show were, that's just disrespectful. Joe Budden, of course, like, well, you know, I kind of like, I'm not saying anybody's wrong or right, but I think it was a joke. I'm like, maybe it was a joke, but all jokes aren't meant to be put out there. You know, it's almost like, you know, you want to hear a racist joke? Like, you got to look around, right? Like, that was one of those situations where you had to look around and look at your audience. Mm-hmm. And this is not the audience that have that. You know, maybe that was an inside joke that, you know, man, Rozzy, dog, I'm just saying, dog. And I told you when we first met, like, man, she got me whipped. And so now that's a joke that, you know, just a few of us know about, like, you know, Z had Fergus wrong from day one. That's the joke. The few people that know about it. So if it's just me, you, and her, you know, a few people around, but to the public, nah, buddy. Nah.
Yeah, it's refinement, right? Like I talk to my kids a lot about, like, society will judge you, everything, right? First impressions, in making an impression, like being refined. You know, I talk a lot about Wu always talks about, I told him he has no tact, right? It's that. It's knowing when to do things in certain situations. And, you know, I agree with you on that whole, I didn't train my daughter. Like, I feel like I failed, right? That my daughter would allow that to happen because that wasn't the situation for that to happen. And you're taking that way over the top. And that's coming from us, right? That we put a lot of stuff on the podcast. That's coming from me, that I say what comes to mind a lot of times, right? But I do have some tact. I know when to say things and when not to. I can code switch, right? Like, I know what situations. I sent you guys the video, right, about like how I turned that nigga dial up, right? And it's like, oh, I'm gonna be 7% black right now, or 70%. Like, I'm gonna turn it up to a 7. I'm gonna turn it to a 10, right? It's that, where I gotta know how sexual I'm gonna be, right, and everything. I'm not gonna do that at work. I'm not gonna do that in front of my parents. But I can do it, you know, with maybe, like you say, my closer friends. And that might have went over in our circle where we talk about sex and everything like that a lot. And so, okay, this 5-6 people, we were at somewhere and I had that cake and it would have been a joke and it would have went over well, right? And so you just got to know the situation, and bringing that in front of your parents is not the situation. And I would have checked them on it.
I don't think it's just parents. I think it's others. I think like,
that's true.
You don't present the person you're with that way to the outside,
right?
Like, I don't care. You know, you can have a sexual relationship and you're like, you know, hey, we still gets it in. You know, we joke about that stuff all the time. But yet and still, like, there's certain things I'm not going to say about my wife for the public to see or to hear, right? Like, that's not for everybody to see. You know? But hey, it is what it is.
To each their own.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and close it on out, fellas.